Hello and welcome to Fur, Fins, and Feathers. Today is our 156th show, and our guest is Kirstin Thell of Attleboro, Massachusetts, who is a renowned breeder of champion Swedish Vallhunds. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having us today.
We are very honored to have you. Tell us about your breed.
Well, this is an ancient breed that the Sweden has classified them as an original breed of the country that dates back to the Vikings. They were used as an all-around farm dog. They had to be a ratter, make sure the rat and mouse population was to a minimum on the farm, alert any intruders, whether it was two- or four-legged intruders, and they would have small herds of cattle, about 10 or 15 head, and they would send the dogs up in the back field to bring them into the stable. The Vikings, they are said to have traveled the world, and they think that the Vallhund either went to Wales, and that's where the Pembroke Welsh Corgi may have come from, or the other theory is that the Pembroke Welsh Corgi came to Scandinavia when the Vikings returned from Wales. So the history on that is still out for debate.
But nevertheless, there is some Corgi influence.
Well, we don't know. At this point, the Swedes feel that the Vikings brought the Swedish Vallhund to Wales. So they think that may have been used in the lineage of the creation of the Pembroke.
How many dogs we got here today? We have a puppy.
We have a 3-year-old.
A young 2-year-old.
3-year-old.
3-year-old.
Yeah.
And then this senior dog is?
He'll be 12 years old in December.
So they do have a longevity.
Yes, they typically live to be in their late teens, early 20s.
Wow, that's impressive.
The breed was almost extinct in the 40s. There was a gentleman that remembered seeing this breed as a young man, and he posted an advertisement in the local paper in the early 1940s.
In Sweden?
In Sweden. And he went ahead and found one person that remembered the breed as well, a terrier breeder. And the two of them searched all over the country for the best specimens. So that was in 1942, and then in the autumn of 1942, they had found enough adequate specimens for the Swedish Kennel Club to allow them to have a competition and present the breed. A year later, the breed was recognized.
How are the statistics today?
Well, the breed has gained in popularity in the last few years, and my mother discovered the breed in 1970s.
How did that happen? Your mother was a good friend of mine, of course.
Yes, with the Great Pyrenees.
Yes.
I grew up with Great Pyrenees. She had champion Great Pyrenees, and
beautiful dogs.
Yes, they are. And every couple years, the folks from America would go to England to the Crufts Big Dog Show or the Windsor Dog Show. And one year, she was over there visiting. They would have a big Greyhound bus, and they would travel the country visiting Great Pyrenees people after visiting the dog show. And during the Windsor show in the late 70s, she was getting off the bus, and us being of Swedish descent, she sees on the other side of the showgrounds some Swedish flags. Well, that's what started it. 5 years of research. She found at the time the best pedigree she could, and had 3 females that she imported into America. One came over pregnant from a Swedish dog, and a male, and that's what my mother started in Rhode Island, the Swedish Vallhund in North America. And these dogs are actually descendants of those dogs. Frankie's father had used semen that was over 25 years frozen semen. And his father sired 2 very predominant dogs that we won at the World Show in Amsterdam. We took the top award against over 200 dogs. We also had to go through the American Kennel Club process. That took us over 25 years. So we needed to do other dog shows like United Kennel Club. We had to go up to Canada to show. There were rarities international as we were getting the club foundation to be recognized by the AKC. So the United Kennel Club is similar to the AKC, but a little bit smaller in some instances. And they have an invitational dog show called the Premier. Well, the sire of that dog that I took to that organization for their big show where 3 judges have to judge, he won Best in Show. So having had such wonderful offspring, that's why I felt it was important to go back and use semen that was that old for his breeding.
Now, your mother was very instrumental in the Providence County Kennel Club, and I believe, get me wrong if I'm wrong, this breed developed, it needed to go through all the process, all the hoops. They started in 1974, around that time.
Well, my mother imported the first breeding stock in the early 80s after doing 5 years of research, and I did accompany her on some of those trips.
So when did the breed, was the breed recognized?
In 2007. So it did take us
2007, wow.
Yes, yeah. In England, it was in the late 70s. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Right, yes, yeah. So, and it was in Rhode Island that we had the kennel. And my mother started the parent club, and there was a handful of us that were the founding members of the parent club. And then other folks got involved with the breed. And
what are statistics now, Kirstin? How many...
well, there's about 300 being registered a year now. The total number, I don't have my hand on that. When my mom became ill, I stepped away from it for a while, so I've only been back into the breeding aspect for a couple of years. So those statistics I just don't have available right now. But they are becoming more and more popular. They are an active breed, very smart. They can have a novice person that doesn't know dogs well. You can form some bad habits like barking and jumping up. But with an experienced handler, definitely they're just a wonderful companion. They will settle down, but they have to go and investigate no matter where they go, part of what they were bred for. You make sure there were no strangers on the property.
I'm looking at these two. Talk about their health.
They are long-lived breed. We do have some eye research that we have done. The University of Helsinki was working with the University of Pennsylvania, doing some eye research on a unique type of PRA that they felt may have been the precursor to PRA. So other than that, they are a very healthy breed. A lot of the shorter breeds, like their proportions, half of their height should be, their proportion should be 2 to 3. So half their height should be 3 times their length. And that was for the purpose of them having the maneuverability. And most people say, oh, you must have back problems like other breeds. But it is my history that if we do have any issues, it's more of a neck problem, that you may have a vertebrae in the neck that may be inflamed. As far as the back, I have not run into that to speak of. We do health testing. We do hip x-rays. We do the eye testing. Being long-lived, they really don't require much in terms of other testing as some other breeds, like heart issues like the Cavaliers and the Dobermans. And in terms of grooming, they do have a double coat. So just once a week brushing is all you really need to maintain.
I was reading on your one of the websites that they do shed.
They do shed a couple times a year, and having a good diet and having regular brushing keeps that to a minimum. But when they do shed, they do have a lot. Like he just started having another shedding episode, so we've been using what they call a blower to get the undercoat out to prevent the massive shedding all at once.
Talk about them at a dog show. How are they doing?
They're doing very well. There's a lot of competition out there now, and my biggest thing is to work on the judges' education, because the judges aren't familiar with the old foundation of the dog. So I've recently been appointed in the last 2 months to be the judges' ed chair. The PowerPoint presentation I had put together over 25 years ago is still in place. I had a lot of my good mentors like Claudia Orlandi who helped me on the fine-tuning the presentation. So it's more of the hands-on that we're going to be focusing on, and the people that are going to go out and doing the mentoring. Hopefully I'll have the opportunity at our national coming up to work with some of the folks that are doing the judges'
How can
ed.
I see that? I'd love to see that.
Yeah. I don't know if we're going to have any live videoing or anything like that, but we had a person from Ireland that was supposed to come out and do the judging, who's judged in Scandinavia, but unfortunately she had back surgery, and her doctor rather told us that she couldn't fly. So we have a all-around judge from Scandinavia coming over. So that will be interesting to have some dialogue with him.
Now, you're going to be showing in Canada or in this country?
I will be going up to visit the big breeder, the one that's the president of the Canadian Kennel Club, in a couple of weeks. She and I last saw each other 26 years ago when I brought my mother to Canada for the Canadian National, their first national, and she's been after me to come up and visit. So she's from Sweden. She originally was an obedience person, and people got after her to start breeding, so that's when a lot of the breeding programs started up in Canada, when she stepped in. So I'm looking forward to meeting with her, and then we'll have our national in Colorado the first week of September.
That'll be fun.
Yes, there's a lot of events. There's lots of national specialties and regional specialties on Thursday, Friday, and then on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday they have an all-breed show. So I'll be having my young puppy. I have a 9-month-old puppy I'll be showing, and then I'll probably just have my veteran doing a little showing so people can see what some of the older bloodlines look like in a mature dog and a younger dog. And they do all kinds of sports. I mean, I had competed in agility, rally, obedience before we got recognized. I had more time to do that. They're not as active in the herding events, but we do a herding instinct test. So we try to see how they are in terms of their genetics of using some of their original skills. We've had also several service dogs and therapy dogs.
Talk about that. That's one thing I'm very interested in.
Yes. Well, my mother had health problems, and I ended up having 3 service dogs for her. The first one would have a box, and he was trained to dial 911 on the box. And then we had another dog that would alert if my mother had fallen, would alert. And he was also a therapy dog. He did a lot of therapy work at the Rentham Development Center here in Massachusetts. He even received a letter of recognition from the senator for his work there. He worked with a lot of paraplegics and people that had what they call tactile defense, where they were totally clutching. And with his therapy, he had one patient who had never been able to stretch her arms out, actually reached out and patted the dog. And then the last service dog I had for my mother, he was also another alert dog, and he would pick things up if my mother needed it. Frankie definitely has the personality for that, so he started a little bit in some of the therapy work that we do in association with Providence County Kennel Club. They go into senior living, nursing homes, Alzheimer units, so he's already been a superstar with some of that. And he may end up going towards some service dog training. A friend of mine may be in need of a service dog if she's able to consider him, but I think he definitely has those skills. But each of the dogs should have some sort of activity. You need to keep them busy. They're not a dog just to sit and be a couch potato.
He could be my service dog.
Yes, yeah. He's a very sweet boy. Right, Frankie? His registered name is St. Francis.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah. So I miss doing the agility and the rally and the obedience. I really enjoyed that. But with the new breedings I've done, it's important to try to get the dogs out and get them represented, showing some consistency, because these dogs are more similar to what some of the original dogs that are illustrated in the books here. We've got 2 books from England here, both of which I've met the authors in the books, and both have already passed on. This book is from Scandinavia, and I did meet her when I visited Scandinavia. Unfortunately, it's not in English. And then we have a 4th book here. This is my friend Lowney, that has also passed on, but she was in Australia. We actually met in Canada 26 years ago, and we maintained to be friends until she had passed. So there's some good reference book, but this book is out of print. It's really hard to find. There are only like a couple of hundred that are in circulation, so it's a real gold mine because it gives a good illustration of the breed.
When is your book coming out?
Well, I've talked about writing a book, and I have, some of my mentors have passed away, but I've got a couple of people that have offered to assist me in some diagrams and things like that. So I'm hoping in the coming year or two to possibly work on some education in terms of the structure and an illustrated standard for the breed.
And that would be so important.
Yes.
With the way things have happened lately.
Yes.
With the AKC and other groups.
Well, so many of the breeds, the judges are doing what we're calling fast tracking. Years ago, as you know, it would take years to get a group. And now you have people getting groups like in the matter of months. I mean, people are applying
I look through the secretary's page every month, and I am amazed at the way fast tracking has gone.
Yes, it's concerning not only to me and my breed, but to a lot of the AKC staff I've been speaking with over the last couple of months since I've been appointed to be the judge's ed chair. I've reached out to a lot of the AKC reps. I've reached out to a lot of the old foundation breeders that are seeing dramatic changes in their breeds, and a lot of the people aren't having the foundation of basic canine anatomy. Back in the day, most people that were in dogs, or at least a good percentage, were horse people. And when I learned from a lot of people like Dr. Paget and some of the old time like Wendell with the poodles, who I'm sure you knew.
We were very good friends.
Yep. Everyone just stressed the importance of looking at pedigrees and bloodlines, and this is before we had DNA. So you had to do a lot of test breeding. And there's a lot of European positions now you have to do outcrossing. But the problem with that is you get more problems. So unless you truly understand what's behind the genetics, just because it's an outcross, if they don't have that structural balance and the mental integrity, that's when we're going to get into even more problems. So like with my breed, it's most important on the fronts, for example, 60% of the weight is on the front of the dog. And if they're going around a corner, if they're herding cattle, we use sheep sometimes for testing and so forth. That front is where I think sometimes you have the problems I'm seeing in the neck more than the back. But to having those proportions, the 2 to 3, if you were to have a square dog, you're going to have much more damage that's penetrating and transmission from the front of the dog to the rear of the dog. Also, you have a lot of the mental problems that you can run into if you're not properly evaluating your breeding program.
Sometimes I think lately it's wham bam, thank you ma'am, and they buy a dog and they breed it and it takes off.
Yes. Some of my
very quickly.
Some of my earlier mentors used to say it can take an inexperienced person 3 to 5 years to ruin a breed, and then it will take an experienced breeder at least 10 years to try to correct what that inexperienced breeder did. when I was a child, one of my mom's best friends was a Great Dane breeder, Marilyn Lovett.
I knew Marilyn well.
Yeah, and Marilyn was just the smartest person on pedigrees. I mean, just laying there at 5, 6, 8 years old with her in the whelping box, just listening to her talk to people and stuff just instilled a lot of knowledge, which I just didn't realize I had. You just kind of know by osmosis. The same thing with the clubs, the dog clubs. I am a member of multiple all-breed clubs, international breed clubs. I'm a founding member of the Swedish Vallhund Club of America. My mother was a founding member of the Pyrenean Fanciers of the Northeast. So basically, as a child, I was there at 90% of the involvement of the organization of that club. Right now, I hold memberships in Providence County Kennel Club. I'm a long-term member, a former delegate of the Providence County Kennel Club, Hockomock Kennel Club, and Morrison Essex I'm a member of. In terms of the breed memberships, the Great Pyrenees Club of America, the Pyrenees Fanciers Club of America, the Garden State Great Pyrenees Club, the Swedish Vallhund, and past members of the home country Swedish Vallhund Club in England. And I think it's just important to have that connection with people. Just having that knowledge of what's going on with the breed, I think is important. And so many people don't have that involvement. We need volunteers to keep these clubs going.
I went to the Wampanoag Kennel Club as they elected me the, what do I want to say, the
Honorary?
an honorary member of the club, even though I had been a member of the club for 30 years.
Oh, that's an honor.
They gave me an honorary membership, and we went to a cookout this weekend.
Oh,
and
nice.
There were so many people who don't come anymore.
Yes, it's sad, isn't it?
There are so many clubs in this country who have given up their membership.
Yes, yes. And there's so many things for young kids to get involved with nowadays too, not to mention the technology.
Phones and basketball and football, but they're stuck with their phones.
Yes, yeah. And it's not just the dog world. I used to ride horses. I competed at Madison Square Garden, both on horseback and with a lead showing dogs. And I still have friends that are involved with the horses, and a lot of the Olympians, the old Olympians, are saying that the kids just don't have the same core foundation that they used to. So hopefully there'll be some more education. We'll have some resources out there for them, and be able to continue on with so many traditions.
This is why with this show, and now we are number 156, I think it is so important to bring the people on and educate them. Now, somebody might look at your breed and say, gee, that is a good breed for our family.
Yes, yeah, for an active family, definitely. Yeah, so appreciate everything you've done with this.
But it is important to look at that face.
Right, Frankie? Yes.
And a big kiss from Frankie.
Yep. And he's shedding, unfortunately. But
well, that's all right. But to come on, and I've got several people who have brought their dogs, and we don't even have to talk about dogs. I've had people come on with parrots.
Oh, wow.
With different iguanas, but to educate people as to some things people can do.
Yes.
They don't have to stay home and watch their phones.
Right, exactly. Yep. Yep. And one thing, though, I'm seeing, which is a concern, I have people, friends that are running into financial problems of maintaining their dogs because of the increase in veterinarian expenses.
Talk about that.
Yes, it seems as if majority of the veterinarian clinics are being bought up by big conglomerates. And majority of the smaller practices are either closing up or being bought. So supporting the privately owned veterinarians, A, is going to keep our expenses to a minimum, and B, keep a little bit more focus on the care of the animals, as what I'm being told and information I'm reading, that these veterinarians are selling their practices, but they're being told that they have to meet quotas and stuff. So we're seeing a substantial rise. There's a woman named Deb Johnson that is a veterinarian, and she puts out lots of information about this, that she's apparently even been threatened and so forth for her to keep her mouth quiet. But I have a friend out in Minnesota just recently, an old farmer that just had to do an emergency surgery on her dog, and he does cows, he does pigs, he does all kinds of animals, and his son is now in the practice, and her bill was less than $2,000. If I had had this same surgery, I would have been looking at $6,000 to $7,000 here in New England, the same surgery.
That is incredible.
It is. And we need more.
People have called me and said, I have Fluffy, my Bichon or whatever. Can you find a vet or tell me about a vet that you know who has low costs? Because we can't afford it.
Yes.
And we're going to have to put Fluffy to sleep.
Yep.
Because we can't afford the bills.
They're calling it economic euthanasia. That's what they've labeled it. Yeah.
And it's sad.
Right, and not trying to, the vet clinics are not finding alternative resources for benefit of the animal. They're saying you have to do this surgery, rather than trying to find other ways to make the animal not in pain. Yeah. So again, it's just more education, like you said. Part of what you're doing is appreciated and needed. Thank you.
I haven't heard much from the people at Tufts. Are the number of students coming still?
Yeah, I don't have firsthand knowledge on Tufts. I haven't been associated with them for many years. We used them back when we had horses. My mom raised Arabian horses as well. So Tufts, I don't know firsthand. I just know that there's a lot of information out there that rural, agricultural, even the government veterinarians, there's such a need for those types of veterinarians.
They are trying to open a veterinary school at URI.
Oh, good.
That passed in the legislature in Providence, in the Rhode Island legislature.
That's wonderful, yeah. And everyone's a specialist now too, because you'd go to a vet and they could do everything. They could do surgery, they could do all kinds of things. And nowadays everything is just your regular veterinarian, then they outsource you.
Well, they are telling me that Fur, Fins, and Feathers, we are coming to the end of our 156th episode. Kirstin, it's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you for having us.
And I would love to have you come back, because we could talk for another hour.
Okay, all right, yes.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And thank Frankie and...
Rocky.
Rocky. Hey, he looked up.